Hello everyone, we are the group 3. So today, me and my group will be discussing to you the two kinds of laro ng lahi. The first one we have the Shato or Shatong, and the next one is Sipa. So now we will talk about Shatong. What is Shatong nga po ba? So Shatong is a native Cebuano game, although no one can say when it exactly started. The game was so popular in the 70s and 80s that kids in the neighboring rural and suburban areas quickly adopted it. And sooner than expected, Shatong's popularity traveled as far as Mindanao and Luzon regions. Since then, the name Shatong takes on other variations, like Yatong, Chato, Chatong, Shatong, or Pitiw. So, sabi po dito that yung Shatong po pala is a native Cebuano game. So, nag-start po siya sa lugar ng Cebu. And wala din daw pong makakapagsabi kung kailan talaga ito nagsimula. Pero, sabi po dito sa ating parang pinaka-history that yung game po is popular siya nung taong 70s and 80s. Wherein yung mga neighboring rural and suburban areas, madali po nilang na-adapt ito. And sooner, yung Shatong po is naging popular po siya at nakapag-travel po siya sa Mindanao and sa Luzon regions. And then, mula daw po noon is, nung nakarating na po ang Shatong sa lugar ng Mindanao and Luzon regions, nagkaroon na po siya ng iba't ibang pangalan like, Shatong, Chato, Chatong, Shatong, or Pitiw. Next, pag-usapan naman po natin yung Shatong mechanics. So, number 1 po is space. The players locate a wide outdoor space to play. So, dito po, as simple as that, naiintindihan naman po siguro natin that yung paglalaro po ng Shatong is kailangan niya ng mas mahaba or mas malawak na lugar. And kailangan po siyang laruin sa outdoor, hindi po sa indoor. Kasi nga po, kailangan ng mas malawak na lugar. And sa number of players naman po, sabi dito, dapat 4 players po ang kailangan sa paglalaro ng Shatong. And sa tools naman po is 2 piraso ng stick. And furrow naman po, all participants decide on where to dig a shallow furrow on the ground. And how Shatong is played naman po, of course, we need 2 teams now we need 2 teams to decide on the initial hitters po by playing a Jack and Poy game. And kung sino man po yung manalo sa larong Jack and Poy, ay siya po ang magiging initial hitters.
So, first level, the hitter places the short stick or hit across the furrow, then he launches it off into the air as hard as he can. So, the number 2 is when the hitter is successfully in his launch, a fetcher is obliged to retrieve the short stick from where it landed. So, the number 3 is however, if the hitter is unsuccessful in his launch and a fetcher catches the stick in mid-air, his team loses its turn to play hitters. So on the other hand, the fetcher's aims is to hit the long stick with the short one. When he succeeds in hitting the long stick, his team now takes the role of hitters. So the second level, the hitter suspends the short stick in the air and drops it. So however, if the stick is not intercepted, the fetcher throws it back to the hitter. So when the hitter succeeds in stringing back the stick, his team now earns points. So the hitters can earn their score by measuring the distance between the drop point of the short stick and the furrow. So here are the third level and the last level of the hitter positions the short stick at a 45-degree angle against the furrow. So the number 2 is once ready, he hits hard the producing part of the short stick to launch it into the air. So number 3 is the hitter is given only 3 attacks to launch the hit. So the number 4 is if the hitter succeeds in his launch, they count their score once more. So the number 5 is fought if the hitter fails to strike or an opponent catches the hit, the hitter team loses a toss.
Okay, so how the winner is determined? Actually, there is no specific rule to Shatong playtime. So, wala pong specific rule yung paglalaro ng Shatong. So, yung players always modify the rules and explore possible variations. And yung larong Shatong po is just for fun. Pero both teams naman po, when they agree na kapag may pinag-agreehan po sila na sa pagtapos ng game, like for example nga po, yung set ng score nila is 100. Then, yung team po that na mauunang makakuha ng score na 100 ay yun yung magiging winner. Yun yung i-declare as a winner. Then, what does the loser get or what is his punishment? So, the winning team picks one of its players to do this. So, yung loser po is pwede po siyang makakuha ng punishment wherein yung mga syempre yung winner team po ang siyang pipili, like pwede po nilang pagpilian is number 1, he launches the hit like what is done in that first level, but this time po no fetcher attempts to intercept it in mid-air. Next po, from the drop point, the player strikes the hit forward to the farthest distance like what is done in the second level po, which is na-discuss po ni Miss Bea Makasakit. And again po, na fetcher is allowed to catch the hit. And sa number 3 po, na pwede rin pagpilian ng winner team is finally a representative of the losing team picks up the hit. And holding his breath, he runs towards the base screaming Shatong. So habang pinipigilan po niya yung paghinga niya is tatakbo po siya toward the base habang sumisigaw ng Shatong. Then, next po, what the players learn in this game. Shatong is originally a children's game. So, pambatang laro po talaga siya. But adults or the young at heart play it too. So, yung mga matatanda and yung mga pusong bata is nilalaro din po ito. After all, it's a fun game for everyone to enjoy. Again, yung Shatong nga po is only a fun game. Para po siya sa lahat wherein na gustong sumaya. So, pwede po itong larong Shatong. Nevertheless, Shatong is not merely a pastime. It helps kids develop the value of taking turns and teamwork. So, nakaka-develop po ito, nakakatulong po siya sa mga bata wherein na pwede po ma-develop yung kanilang teamwork. And since Shatong involves counting, young children learn or hone their mathematical skills. So, at the young age po, no, sa paglalaro nila ng Shatong is makakatulong din po ito. Since nga po, sabi nga po dito that Shatong involves counting, so involve po yung pagbibilang, pwede pong matuto or mahasa yung mathematical skills ng bata. So, tips in playing Shatong, number 1, of course, practice your batting skills to make sure the hit lands far from the base. Number 2, make a strategy to prevent the fetcher from intercepting the hit. Number 3, but be careful to avoid the hit landing on your head or other parts of the body. Again, that will be all in the yun po yung topic namin sa Shatong. And thank you sa pakikinig. God bless everyone. Sipa. For our contents, we have the number 1, of course, history and variations of Sipa. Number 2, requirements and procedures. Number 3, the safety measures. And of course, the number 4, we have the differences to other similar sports. We have the history and variations of Sipa. It is difficult sport to play where players are required to have high skills of ball control, speed, and agility. The sport has some similarities in gameplay to that of football net and foot volley. So, Sipa, sabi sa history, is isa siyang sport wherein mahirap siyang laruin. Since alam naman natin na pag sinabing Sipa, dapat talaga malakas yung ball control mo and yung agility mo. So, when it comes to the agility naman, alam naman siguro natin to, familiar na tayo when we say agility, dapat mabilis kang kumilos or the ability to move your body quickly and easily. So, yung sport na Sipa daw, may pagkahawig daw po siya sa laro kung tawagin ay foot bagnet and foot volley. Next, for our objective, Sipa, which literally means to kick. So, as simple as that, sisipain mo po talaga yung tinatawag nating pamato. So, the objective is to keep the pato in the air as long as the player will not use any other body part aside from the legs. Madali lang naman pong intindihin yung objective ng laro ng Sipa. Basta mapanatili mo lang yung tinatawag nating pato sa air and wag mo lang patamain sa ibang parte ng katawan mo. So, pwede lang po siya sa legs. Again, for the history po, Sipa is considered the Philippine national and traditional native sport. So, meaning to say, sa atin po talaga to, which predates and Spanish rule going back to the 15th century. So, yung Sipa po is also considered as our Philippine national and traditional native sport. It was predates or nauna po ito noong kasalukuyan pa nagro-rule and nagro-rule po yung mga Spanish dito sa ating bansa. So, next we have the variations of Sipa. Meron po tayong tatlong variations of Sipa. First, we have the washer. So, yung washer po, ito po yung ginagamit ng mga bata sa paligid or yung mga batang nakikita natin na binabalutan nila ng cloth, ng yarn, pwede rin, or yung plastic straw, yung ganun po. Minsan nga po kahit balat ng candy. So, may mga picture po tayo dyan. So, para makita nyo po kung ano po yung itsura ng washer na binabalutan ng cloth, ng yarn, ng plastic straw, or even balat ng candy ng mga bata. So, ayan po yung picture. Next naman po, we have the rattan ball. So, yung rattan ball naman po played with a larger ball that is made with the women rattan strips. So, yung rattan ball po, ito na yung mga ginagamit nila pagdating po sa mga contest. So, may picture din po tayo dyan. So, ayan po yung rattan ball. Next po, yung number 3 or the third variation of Sipa, which is the simplified. Yung simplified po is nilalaro po siya ng equal number of players.
Good day everyone, I am Jenny Padilla. I am the reporter of this topic. The net. The next post should be 1.45 meter, tall for female completion and 1.35 meter for male completion. This post should be made from strong material to ensure a high net tension and should not be more 0.04 meter in radius. The post should be placed of 0.03 meter from the side boundaries along the center line. Yung net dapat ay made of nylon or cord para maging mas matibay. At yung size niya dapat is 0.06 to 0.08 meter and it should be 0.07 in width of the cord. And yung height niya, yung height ng cord ay dapat from the floor to the top. At para naman sa lalaki, it should be 1.52 at sa mga women naman ay 1.42. Second one is ball. The ball can be in any color or any combination of colors, providing it does not impair the performance of the player. All materials and methods for constructing the ball and its covering must adhere to staff regulations and must be approved by staff before use in any competition. At ang bola dapat ay spherical and made from synthetic fiber in one woven layer. Kapag naman ang bola hindi made of synthetic fiber, ay dapat meron siyang 12 holes, 20 interaction or intersection, and for the women naman ay 0.42 to 0.24 meter at ang bigat dapat ng bola ay 150 to 160 grams at sa mga lalaki naman ay 0.41 meter to 0.43 meter. At ang bigat ng bola ay dapat 1.70 to 180 grams. The last one is attire. Any attire that allows players to have an advantages over the player is not permitted. Opposing teams must wear difficult colored jersey, and each team should have a minimum of 2 sets of jersey. One light and the other is dark. Home team players must change the colors of the jersey of the opposing team wears a similar color during competition. Alam naman natin kapag tayo ay nagsisipa or nagsisepak, common na yung mag-jersey tayo, magsisocks, yung sport shoes, shorts. Siyempre, yung shoes natin na dapat no heels para mas comfortable tayo mga laro at maayos din yung paglalaro natin. And lahat ay dapat makapakin para less discussion din. Para less distraction din. And alam naman din natin kapag naka-jersey tayo, automatic na yung my number. At lastly, yung panghuli, dapat yung mga captain ng bawat team ay dapat magsuot ng armband of the left arm. And dapat different yung color ng mga uniform nila sa mga players. Yun lang po, and thank you.
So I am Jacqueline Mungkaka. I am the next reporter of this group. So this is the example of the attire of Sipa players. Procedure number 1: toss the Sipa up and kick it with the top, side or head of your shoe. The objective of the game is to kick it repeatedly as many times as you can. Never allow the Sipa ball to hit the ground. So, ang ibig sabihin lang po dito, gamit po yung ating mga tsinelas or sapatos, sipain lang po natin yung sipa, pamato, kung ilang tira yung kaya mong gawin. So, wag po natin hahayaan na yung sipa is malaglag sa ground dahil out na po yun. Number 2. To use the top of your shoe, let the sipa land on it and gently bounce it in the air with your foot. So, dito naman po sa number 2, gamit po yung top ng ating mga tsinelas is hayaan po natin or hintayin po natin mag-land yung sipa sa ating mga tsinelas and dahan-dahan po itong magbabounce and patuloy lang po natin nitong sipa-sipain hanggang sa kung saan yung kaya natin. Number 2, turn your leg to the side like you are sitting cross-leg po and bounce the sipa of the side of your shoe. So, sa number 3 po, para po malaro mo yung larong sipa is i-cross mo yung mga paa mo, yung mga leg mo, para malaro mo ng maayos yung larong sipa. So, number 4, next po is number 4. If the sipa goes behind you, bend your knee and kick the sipa with the bottom of your shoe. This is to move. So, sa number 4 naman po is, kung yung pong sipa is napunta sa behind natin is, gamitin po natin yung ating mga knee, i-bend po natin siya para masipa po natin. Sipain po natin yung sipa gamit yung bottom of our shoes or yung tsinelas po natin, ganun. Next, sa number 5 is kick or give the sipa to another player to keep the game going. Your turn is over if the sipa hits the ground, so hand it to the next player when that happens. You can also kick the Sipa over to one of your teammates if you get tired or start losing your momentum. If playing with another team, pass the Sipa ball to the opponent that passing into it. So, sa number 5 naman po is, gamit po yung pagsipa is, ipasa po natin yung sipa sa ka-teammates natin, or kapag po feeling mo is pagod ka na or nawawala ka na sa balance mo, is pwede mo ipasa yung sipa sa teammates mo para magpatuloy yung laro. And wag po nating hahayaan na dumapo po yung sipa sa ground dahil out na po yon. Kaya, ang gawin po natin is pag feeling natin is pagod na tayo, is ipasa po natin yung sipa sa kakampi natin or sa teammates natin. So, ang next po is ang safety measures. So, warm up and stretch before game and practice. So, eto po yung number 1. Coaches should set aside time before every practice and game for athletes to warm up properly. So, dito po is magbibigay po yung ating mga coach ng exact time para po makapag-warm up tayo bago po yung laro, para po maiwasan natin yung mga injury o ganun. Next naman po ay stretching. Before practice and games can release muscle tension and help prevent sports-related injuries. So, need din po natin mag-stretching bago tayo mag-umpisang maglaro. Because, ito po is nakakatulong para lumakas yung mga muscle natin and para din po makaiwas tayo sa mga sports injury. Next po is athletes should start with about 10 minutes of jogging or any light activity, and then stretch all major muscle group holding for 20 to 30 seconds. So dito naman po is yung mga athletes is bibigyan sila ng enough time para makapag-jogging para po maging matibay yung kanilang mga paa, ganun, or any activity po na pwedeng gawin para makatulong sa paglalaro ng mga athletes. Next po is remember to hydrate. So, the number 1 is learn the signs and symptoms of dehydration and other form of heat illness. So, as bilang athlete po is alamin po natin yung mga sign and symptoms ng dehydration and other heat illness. Next po is send athletes to the practice and games with a water bottle and encourage them to stay well hydrated by drinking plenty of water before, during, and after play. So, dito po is yung mga athlete po natin is painumin po natin sila ng tubig, ng sapat na tubig before, during, and after the play para po maiwasan po yung dehydration. So, next is encourage athletes to drink fluids 30 minutes before activity begins and players every 15 to 20 minutes during activities. So, dito naman po is i-encourage po natin yung mga athletes or yung mga player natin na uminom ng tubig 30 minutes bago mag-umpisa yung activity na gagawin natin. And painumin din po natin sila 15 to 20 minutes during activity. And the last one po is if you are a coach, establish mandatory water breaks throughout practice and games. Don't wait for your athletes to tell they are thirsty. So dito po, bilang isang coach is i-mandatory po natin yung water break. Magbigay po tayo ng water break sa mga athletes natin. Huwag po nating hahayaan na sila yung magsabi sa inyo na kailangan nilang uminom or kailangan na po nilang uminom kasi pagod na sila or natutuyo na yung mga lalamunan nila, gano'n. Next po is wear appropriate sports gear. So, alam naman po natin yung mga sports gear is importante para iwas disgrasya po. And the number 1 is use appropriate and proper fitted sports gear to prevent or reduce the severity of injuries. So, gaya nga po nung sabi ko kanina, yung mga sports gear is importante para sa ating paglalaro, para nga po iwas injury, para po iwas disgrasya. Then next, make sure athletes use the correct equipment in order to participate in both practice and games. They may include helmets, shin guards, mouth guards, ankle brace, shoes with rubber cleats, and sunscreen. So, siguraduhin po natin na yung mga athlete natin or yung mga players natin is tama yung mga sports gear na mga suot nila, yung mga gamit nila, para nga po ma-prevent natin yung mga kind of injuries. Next naman po is make a rest a priority. So, syempre po, yung alam naman natin na isa din sa importante yung kailangan ng pahinga ng mga athletes. So, the number 1 po is to help overuse injury. Athletes should take breaks during practice and games. So, yung mga athlete po natin is kailangan nila ng mag-take ng break, even practice man yan or game man yan or practice man yan, kailangan ng mga athletes ng sapat na pahinga para hindi sila ma-injured, para hindi ma-overuse yung kanilang katawan. So, next po is encourage athletes to tell coaches, teammates about any pain, injuries, or illness they may have during or after very practice or games. So, sabihin po natin sa mga athletes natin na if meron silang nararamdaman na injury or if meron silang nararamdaman na sakit during or after the game, is magsabi sila sa mga coaches of teammates para po maagapan agad, para po hindi magka-injury, para po hindi lumala yung injury ng ating mga athletes. And the last one po is athletes should take at least 1 or 2 days of each work from any particular sports. So, bilang isang athlete po is kailangan din po nila ng pahinga. Like sabi ko nga po kanina, is importante po yung pahinga sa mga athletes. So, bigyan po natin sila ng at least 2 days, day off, para po magkaroon sila ng sapat na pahinga at mapahinga po yung kanilang mga katawan. And the next po is be a prepared player. So, number 1 is, as one of the player, establish safety guidelines that co-athletes can't allow during every practice and game, such as creating hydration breaks, encouraging player to sit out if injured, resting if not feeling well, and facilitating a proper team warm-up. And next is it's also a good idea for players to get certified in first aid and CPR and have a stock first aid kit handy at all practices and game.
Differences to other similar sports. It is a common misconception that sepak takraw is the same as Sipa. So, yung sepak takraw po, same lang po sila ng Sipa. And yung malaking pinagkaiba lang po ng Sipa at sepak takraw is yung Sipa po is our actual national sport, wherein dito po talaga siya sa Pilipinas nag-start at nilalaro. While the sepak takraw naman po is nilalaro po siya mostly sa Malaysia, Thailand, and other Southeast Asian countries. So, sepak has been called kick volleyball because its rules similar to the latter, except that players use their heads, legs, and feet instead of their hands. So, yung sepak po is mapapansin natin, if mapapansin po natin na more on head, legs, feet, and yung ginagamit instead po yung kanilang kamay, no? Ginagamit po is yung head, again, legs and feet instead of yung kamay. And same as Sipa po, more on legs and feet po ang ginagamit. So, a sepak game also would require terms of 3 to play it, while Sipa is more flexible in terms of the number of players and the scoring system. So, in terms of scoring and numbers of players po, mas flexible po yung Sipa kesa sa sepak takraw. That will be the end of our discussion about Sipa. Thank you and God bless.